welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, ET Now's special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. On the show today, CEO of Dr. Lal Path Labs, Om Manchanda, talks to us about the company's growth, expansion plans and innovating in the healthcare space. On Bright Sparks tonight, Archon Galleries that offers classy furniture and interior design consultancy to renowned companies. And the story of Prasol Chemicals from Mumbai, that's a leading manufacturer of specialty chemicals. So that's what we have in store for you tonight. Let's start off then with our Bright Sparks. Tonight, our first Bright Spark is a company that's a traditional brick and mortar store in the furniture and interior design space. This 35-year-old company from New Delhi has moved with the times to offer diverse styles to consumers, and it still believes that word of mouth is the best form of advertising. Here's ET Now's Punita Verma bringing you the story of Archon Galleries.
Archon Galleries was launched by Rajinder Singh Sodhi in the year 1981. A qualified architect, he holds a doctorate in interiors and building design. Joined by his brother Jaswinder Singh Sodhi and wife Renu, he has taken his venture from ground zero to an enviable position in the furniture industry. So 1981, you started your business and it's been 35 years since then. A lot of economic upheavals have happened, people's choices in terms of furniture and their spending patterns have also changed. How did you manage to sail through the odd and even weathers in business?
Our expansion was very gradual. It was never very steep. And we inducted as many technicians as we were able to sustain. So because it was very gradual, so there was no ups and downs really in our business.
Are you looking at corporatizing your business in order to earn higher revenues and also as a means of expanding it?
We have no plans for corporatizing the business. We are very happy the way we are working with very distinguished kind of clients. We want to carry it as it is.
So how did you manage to distinguish yourself in the market?
We were very much conscious of what is happening all over in the world. We were traveling a lot, attending to very many exhibitions in various parts of United States and various parts of Europe. And we were introducing, we were thinking, we were conscious of what is happening all over the world and what new kind of ideas we have to introduce in our showrooms, in our shop, to make it distinguished as compared to others.
In the times when marketing and branding have become the new buzzwords, Archon Galleries continues to do business the traditional way, registering organic growth. The owners maintain that word of mouth has grown the business far and wide, and this mode of advertising continues to stand the test of time. So what was your core strategy of taking your business forward? Did you go for geographic expansion or did you choose to add more variety to your product line?
We were always conscious of introducing very good designs and we were very much concentrating on the quality of product. And the quality of product gave us a lot of lead to expand our business.
So quite unconventionally, you do not advertise or market your products. Don't you feel the need of professionalizing this domain of business?
We never believed in steep expansion. We always believed in expansion through word of mouth. And we always, our clients always went very highly satisfied. And that's how we expanded our business, by word of mouth.
Do you think Indian home decor industry has a unique identity that can be replicated across the Western world as well?
In India, there is no furniture which we call Indian furniture. Indian furniture was typically like a charpai to start with. And we have always, we have been influenced by foreign countries, by Europeans, to have their type of furniture, which we have been using in our houses.
Despite rich experience, the company is not eyeing any geographic expansion or corporatization at the moment to take the business further. Archon Galleries chooses to stay humble and close to its roots while moving with the times to offer contemporary products, a virtue seen only in accomplished leaders.
Our next bright spark tonight is a Mumbai-based company that's a leading manufacturer of specialty chemicals and has a presence in 40 countries around the world. Its products are used in various sectors like paints, cosmetics, flavors, fragrances, pharmaceuticals and lots more. ET Now's Poulomi Mukhopadhyay meets the team behind Prasol Chemicals. Chemical industries have been the backbone of the India growth story. The tremendous expansion of the country's chemical manufacturing segment has made a mark on the global trade map as well. Shaping this sector for over a decade, Prasol Chemicals is set to become a worldwide premier manufacturer of specialty chemicals and a provider of technical services. Established in 1992, Prasol has made its local as well as global presence in over 40 countries through its dedicated distribution channels. With a mantra of customer first and reputation first, entrepreneur Nishitar Shah is driving the growth of this company.
Mr. Shah, you started the company in 1995 with just 16 people and you have come so far. How has been the journey?
Well, it was a very tough journey. Initial 5 years from a capital of 3 crores, we have boiled down to 5,000 rupees. And today from 5,000 rupees, the company has grown to over 300 crores and is still growing. So yes, it has been a long journey, but we had to hit the bottom and then grow back up.
So what kind of challenges does your company face when you import raw materials from abroad vis-a-vis importing finished products from abroad?
Yeah, raw material is an issue definitely because most of the raw material we deal in are imported. That is both the phosphorus, one is the phosphorus chemistry we deal in and the other is the acetone chemistry we deal in. So all the raw materials are imported. There is a huge question of volatility in the pricing that comes across as far as rupee to dollar is concerned, and the other is the availability and the port issues.
So how is your company helping in the Skill India movement? You said you started your company with 16 people and you have more than 500 people now. How is it helping the Skill India movement?
See, based on the campaign, it brings you an awareness of what has to be done or what are the shortfalls of your country. So we as a company, we started a vocational guidance on campus. So we have started taking students and young people and laborers in and around our factory in the Khopoli area. So today we have almost 100 students with us which are trained in various sectors, be it computer, be it fitting, be it a reaction, whereby these people who are 10th to 12th grade passed, they get trained in a specific field. And at the end of the training, they get a certificate and they have an option either to work with us or join any other company.
Mr. Shah, what is the future vision for your company? Where do you want to see your company 5 years from now?
See, the internal planning of the company is how do we reach 1,000 crores? And the only way we can achieve it, the policy we are looking at is multiple joint ventures with multinational on specific products as a forward-backward integration to the chemistry we are dealing in. That is one. And the other is trying to look at SIC units in India who have not succeeded, not because the product is not good, but because of administration reasons. So we are trying to pick up such companies and grow with them.
Over the years, Prasol Chemicals has been instrumental in innovating and offering a wide range of phosphorus-based, acetone-based and hydrogenated products in India. Its R&D and manufacturing units have set new benchmarks for the chemical industry. With cutting-edge technical support and an excellent sales service, Prasol Chemicals has become one of the leaders of the chemical manufacturing sector in India. Well, so that was Prasol Chemicals, a global leader in acetone and phosphorus-based chemicals. Let's take a short break right here. On the other side, we'll meet the CEO of Dr. Lal's Path Labs to get insights on running a successful healthcare enterprise, turning a family-owned business into a corporate one, and lots more. Stay with us on Leaders of Tomorrow, only on ET Now. Welcome back to Leaders of Tomorrow. Next up is our special segment called Insight, where we bring you exciting conversations with policymakers, academicians and leaders of India Inc. Tonight we are meeting someone who's the CEO of one of India's largest diagnostics chain. He has led the growth of this company from being a traditional family-run enterprise into a renowned professional organization. I spoke to him about tech-driven startups in healthcare, future growth and expansion plans of his company, and the importance of constant innovation. Here's part of that conversation that I had earlier with Om Manchanda, CEO Dr. Lal PathLabs.
See, healthcare is a very large market. It's about 4,20,000 crores. And healthcare has many parts to it. You have a hospital space, you have pharmaceuticals, you have diagnostics, you have medical devices, and you have a couple of other miscellaneous stuff. Right. We as a company are in diagnostic space that constitute about 9% of the market. Diagnostics is really growing faster because the practice of medicine is changing. It's becoming more evidence-based. Incidence of lifestyle disorders are going up, like diabetes, etc. With greater healthcare awareness, you see a lot of preventive health checkups happening. Right. So all put together, diagnostics is growing faster. And we believe that this diagnostics is a very important element of medicine, and we really want to improve accessibility of diagnostics in the country. That's our long-term vision.
So what are the key opportunity areas that you see there for startups, for tech-driven startups, as well as small and medium entrepreneurs?
See, healthcare actually has two distinct segments. One is a very technical component, which is a medical side. If you are a doctor and you are qualified medical practitioner, then you need to look at opportunities slightly differently.
Right.
If you are a non-medical person, then the opportunities are a little different. And maybe let's say if somebody belongs to non-medical side of it, you need to actually have an idea which complements the medical side. Many ideas which are there, especially on technology side. You have IT setups. Healthcare IT is a very, very happening place. Healthcare analytics is another important area where some of these young entrepreneurs can get in. Yes. Healthcare is a very fragmented piece. You have hospitals on one side, you have diagnostic on the other side, and the patient is sitting. All these records are not really interlinked. Right. So you can actually provide a lot of linkages as well. So if I were to sum up, healthcare IT is one big area where entrepreneurs can get in. Right. The other area is on the service side. A lot of apps can actually come in. You can download the report on the net, or you can even help a patient to see the collation of all the reports, whether it's from hospital, whether it's from diagnostic. So I believe in the area of technology, there are many options available for any new startup.
Right. And are you looking for any strategic alliances or partnerships? What are the areas where you think you could tie up with smaller players?
We do look at partnership with these people. Let's say nowadays I get a lot of people who are helping us in setting up our logistics setup. If I slice my business, you have collection, then I need to transport that sample from point of collection to lab. Then I have inside the lab processes. I find a lot of this logistics area, a lot of automation is happening in that area. The second is analytics piece. We generate so much of data on a daily basis. Yes. There are a lot of companies coming up and telling us that we can help you to build insight in the business. So that's another area where startups can come into healthcare.
Innovation is perhaps the biggest driver of success in any organization for that matter. So at Dr. Lal's PathLabs, what's the sort of innovation that you've seen in your decade-long career?
See, there are two areas again in our diagnostic space. One is the quality of reports. So the accuracy of a test is very, very important.
Right.
So the first innovation is inside the lab. The entire workflow is highly automated. It's untouched by human hands. And that's very, very important for us. So I've seen a lot of innovation in that area. The second is on a daily basis, you see introduction of newer tests, especially advanced tests. Genetics is becoming a very important area, and molecular diagnostics is another important area. So I have seen a lot of new tests being introduced. The third important area has been the service side.
Right.
The convenience to the patient has been very, very key area for us. I have seen my patients preferring now home collections. You can download the report anywhere. You can actually give the blood sample in place A, you can download the sample in place B. So it's become an extremely convenient experience. That's where patients are really demanding, as well as we see a lot of innovations coming in on the service side as well.
What would you say are those top 3 qualities that a micro or a small enterprise should have if it wants to make a mark in the diagnostics space?
We have seen that you really need to focus on quality. The quality really helps you to build brand. And the single biggest reason why somebody actually comes to your lab is because of quality.
Yes.
And since regulations are not very strict in this area, so a lot of voluntary accreditation processes are very important. So I would say actually the quality is one important area for somebody to succeed.
Right. And Lal Path Labs is a great example of a family-owned and family-run business going the professional way. So, there are, in fact, 90% of the small and medium enterprises in India today are owned and run by families. So, for a company that's looking to scale up and take the next big leap, what's the starting point of going professional?
I think the first starting point going professional is to actually know what your dreams are. It's very easy to say that I want to really become big.
Yes.
So it's very important for an entrepreneur to see where he or she wants to go. The moment you've decided, okay, I really want to become big, then there are a lot of things which you need to change. You can think of hiring a professional, but you must know what professionals would need to make your organization big. I think the single biggest thing my advice would be for these entrepreneurs that you should have the ability to let go a lot of things when you hire a professional.
Right.
Because it's a little bit of a against this thought process that you are hiring a professional and then you don't let him or her do the things the person wants to do.
Right.
So it's very important that you should have the ability to let go. If especially the business has been old enough, there is a culture
Yes.
which is already existing. So I think fundamentally, to me, any professional who would come into the organization would first want to bring a cultural change. Cultural change, culture for growth.
Right.
He or she will have to create a hunger for growth. And in order to do that, there will be always an old boys club. And there is always a resistance for any new person coming in when the change is required.
Trying to change
Yes.
the entire system.
I think that's where entrepreneur really has to handhold this new person.
So today, would you say the whole entrepreneurial streak of Lal Path Labs has been overshadowed by a managerial streak?
I don't think so. Even the managers are actually entrepreneurs.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, for a fast growing organization, that hunger to grow and be an entrepreneur has to be virtually with every employee. So I probably feel that today's managers need to be entrepreneurs as well. So hunger to be an entrepreneur still remains. And we have close to 1,500 franchisee. They're all entrepreneurs. So it's actually the entire entrepreneurial ecosystem has become much bigger now.
Talking about you as a leader, you've spent some time at HUL before you came here. What's your leadership style? Are you a micromanager?
No, I don't see myself as a micromanager. I think I'm very, I like to carry everybody along, so I have a little bit of participative sort of a style. It's not a command and control, so I give a lot of space to people. I hold people accountable for what their job is for. So I think that's one. I expect people to be more, to have a little more rigor in the decision making. I expect people to plan well before they execute. It's like a tailor's principle. You measure it twice, cut it once. If you cut it, then it's gone, so you can't go back. So these are some of my expectations from my people. And I'm actually also demanding on myself as well, so that I put in a lot of hard work.
Your company has used technology very efficiently over the years. What are some of those cutting edge technologies that have transformed business operations for you and had a significant impact on the bottom line?
Yeah, I think the one big area for us is something called Lab Information Management System.
Right.
This system actually helps the machine to be bi-directional interface. So when, let's say, any one of us goes to blood sample, then it gets barcoded. After that, it is not touched by any human hands.
Right.
So machines are reading the entire thing through that barcode. What test needs to be done, that sample needs to get split, needs to go into multiple departments, has to go into multiple machines. All that is actually entirely automated.
Right.
This lab information management system helps us to manage the entire workflow. When the values come out of the machine, and they are coming from 5 different machines, 3 different departments, they all converge on one single piece of paper, and then somebody validates it whether these values are making sense or not. This entire automation is a big area for us.
Wow.
That has made big difference to our processes.
And one last question, what are your top success mantras for entrepreneurs?
First is, if you're very clear about what you want to do, don't get distracted by anything else. So I think it's just focus is what is required, and then keep on measuring those parameters where you want to succeed. So I would give a formula of form, focus and measure, and I think you will reach where you want to reach.
Well, with that, it's a wrap for tonight on Leaders of Tomorrow. We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to get in touch with us. You can write to us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com or reach us using social media by just putting in the hashtag LOT or simply by calling us on the number on your screen. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye and good night.